Continue reading explanation by Blessed Theophylact of the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 24, verses 25 through 35. Continue reading explanation. He also vanished so as to increase their fervor to him. And indeed, the evangelist says that they were so joyful that they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem. They didn't return to Jerusalem in that same hour, but instead it says they rose up that same hour and they returned to Jerusalem after as many hours as were necessary for them to walk the distance of 60 furlongs. It was during this time that the Lord also appeared to Simon. Their hearts burned within them with the fire of the Lord's words, meaning that as he spoke to them, the conviction burned within them that what he said was true. It may also mean that he expounded the scriptures to them. Their hearts beat with excitement as the thought formed within them. It is the Lord who is teaching us. Glory to Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Chapter 24, verses 36 through 44. And as they thus spake, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them and said unto them, Peace be with you. But they were terrified and afraid, and supposed that they had seen a spirit. He said unto them, Why are you troubled? And why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me and see. For a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as you see me have. And when he had thus spoken, he showed them his hands and his feet. And while for joy they didn't yet believe and marveled, he said unto them, Have you here anything to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and of the honeycomb. And he took it and did eat before them. He said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you, while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. Explanation. The Lord who orders all these things for your salvation sends in the midst of his disciples, wanted to convince them of the resurrection. First he calms their fear by the customary greeting of peace, and at the same time shows that it is he himself, their own teacher, who greets them with the very same greeting with which he armed them when he sent them out to preach. But because the fear within their souls was not calmed by his words, he demonstrated to them in another way that he is the Son of God, whom knows the hearts of men. He says, Why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Most assuredly, God alone knows the heart. Then he offers additional confirmation by inviting them to touch his hands and feet. You think that I'm spirit, that is a phantasm, like those apparitions of the dead, which often appear near the tombs. But you know that the spirit doesn't have flesh and bones. I have both flesh and bones, although they are more divine and spiritual. The body of the Lord is not the spirit, but it is spiritual. That is, it has no part of any coarseness and is governed by the Spirit. For the body which we have now is animate, psychonon, governed by the soul, made alive by natural and animate attributes and faculties. But the body after resurrection Paul calls spiritual, it is made alive and governed by the divine Spirit, and not by the soul, transformed in an inevitable and spiritual manner into incorruption and preserved incorruptible. This is how we must understand the body of the Lord after resurrection. His spiritual, refined, a stranger to all coarseness. It needs nothing, not even food, although the Lord did eat to confirm the disciples' belief. He ate not because his resurrection body by its nature needed food, but by economy, to show that his risen body was the same which suffered on the cross. For this is the nature of the Lord's body now, to enter where the doors are shut and to pass effortlessly from one location to another. Because the disciples still didn't believe and hadn't been convinced, even by touching his hands and feet, he offers yet another proof, that of eating. But what he eats is consumed by some divine power. For all that is eaten in natural manner passes from the mouth to the drain. But what the Lord eats here is not according to nature, as we have said, but by economy. And the very foods which he ate also convey hidden meaning. By eating a piece of broiled fish, he indicates that he has consumed with the fire of his divinity our human nature, which had been swimming in the salty sea of this life, and he has scorched away all the damn slime our nature had taken on as it sank into the depths and it was battered by the waves. Thus he made our nature of food fit for God, fashioning that which before was defiled into sweet food of which God can commune. For this suggests by the honeycomb the sweetness now of our nature which before had been rejected. Glory to the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.